Welcome the rare gems. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who are misunderstood the most. Sigma females know this truth all too well. They're often labeled as distant, rebellious, or emotionally detached by their families, simply because they don't follow the usual rules or seek constant approval. Instead of blending into the family dynamics, they carve their own path, driven by their inner strength and deep sense of authenticity. They don't need validation from others to feel secure. They don't cling to traditions because they feel more connected to their own values than to societal expectations. But because of this, they're misunderstood. Family members may not get why they don't follow the family script, or why they seem distant when they're actually just fiercely independent. The truth is, Sigma females have a unique way of navigating the world, one that doesn't rely on external validation or conformity. If you're a Sigma female, know that your ability to be true to yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, is your greatest strength. The world may not always understand you, but that's okay. Keep being you. Watch this video to gain insight into why Sigma females are often misunderstood and how you can embrace your true self without apology. Number 1, they refuse to conform, even to family traditions. For a Sigma female, traditions aren't sacred just because they've been passed down. To her, meaning holds more value than habit. If something doesn't resonate with her, she won't pretend it does simply to keep the peace. This mindset is often misunderstood, especially within families where traditions are treated as the glue that holds everyone together. But for her, blindly following customs without understanding their purpose feels like betraying herself. When a Sigma female questions or outright rejects a family tradition, it's not out of rebellion or disrespect. It's because she refuses to live on autopilot. To her, life is about depth, not going through the motions to please others. If the tradition aligns with her values, she'll honor it wholeheartedly. If it doesn't, she'll step away, even if it means being called difficult or ungrateful. This approach can make family gatherings tense. Relatives might say things like, "Why can't you just go along with it?" or "This is how we've always done things." But the Sigma female isn't interested in always. She's interested in why. If the why doesn't add up, she won't fake enthusiasm. This refusal to conform often isolates her, but it also sets her apart as someone who refuses to settle for superficiality. What's really happening here is a quiet but powerful act of self-respect. The Sigma female isn't rejecting family. She's rejecting a life of unexamined routines. She's teaching others, even unintentionally, that real connection comes from honesty, not forced participation. And while this makes her a challenge for those who thrive on tradition, it also makes her the kind of person who lives with purpose, not pretense. In the end, it's not rebellion, it's integrity. Number 2, they reject guilt as a tool for control. In many families, guilt is wielded like an invisible leash, a subtle yet powerful tool to enforce compliance and maintain control. A Sigma female, however, doesn't fall for it. She recognizes guilt for what it is, a tactic designed to manipulate emotions and keep people in line. Where others might cave under the weight of obligation, she stands firm, refusing to let anyone dictate her choices through emotional blackmail. This refusal often paints her as the black sheep of the family. Statements like, "After all we've done for you," or "How can you be so selfish?" roll off her shoulders, not because she's callous, but because she knows her worth isn't tied to how well she fulfills someone else's expectations. She sees the trap in these words, the unspoken demand to sacrifice her own needs and desires for the sake of family harmony. And she won't play along. Her rejection of guilt as a control mechanism can make her seem uncooperative or even rebellious. But the truth is, she values genuine connection over coerced compliance. To her, love and respect aren't earned through manipulation. They're built on mutual understanding and freedom of choice. While this stance often creates tension, it's also a declaration of her independence. She won't allow herself to be boxed in by outdated obligations or unspoken hierarchies. Instead, she sets her own terms, even if it means enduring criticism or isolation. The irony is, her refusal to succumb to guilt isn't a rejection of family, it's a rejection of control. She knows that true relationships thrive not on obligation but on authenticity. By standing her ground, she's not breaking the family apart. She's showing them a path to healthier, more honest connections. Number 3. They won't pretend everything is fine. Sigma females have no interest in maintaining the illusion that everything is fine when it's not. They value truth over appearances and are unwilling to sacrifice honesty just to keep the family image intact. To her, addressing issues directly is not just necessary, it's the only way to grow and heal. While many families prefer to avoid conflict by pretending problems don't exist, she takes the opposite approach, calling out dysfunction even when it makes everyone squirm. This candor can be unsettling. Families often prioritize keeping the peace, even if it means burying unresolved issues beneath layers of denial. When a Sigma female refuses to play along, she's often labeled a troublemaker. Her unwillingness to ignore toxic behaviors or unspoken tensions is seen as disruptive, as if the act of revealing the cracks is worse than the cracks themselves. But she doesn't speak up to cause chaos. She does it to prevent the kind of long-term damage that comes from avoidance. Ignoring problems might maintain surface-level harmony, but it erodes trust and authenticity in the long run. The Sigma female understands this deeply, which is why she'd rather endure temporary discomfort than allow unresolved issues to fester. Her approach can alienate her from family members who prefer to keep things nice and avoid rocking the boat. Yet, her directness is not about defiance, it's about integrity. She believes in building relationships on a foundation of honesty, even if it's messy or difficult at first. Though her actions may be misunderstood or criticized, the Sigma female is unwavering. She knows that true peace isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about confronting what's broken and having the courage to fix it. In the end, her refusal to sweep issues under the rug is an act of love, not rebellion. Number 4. They see people for who they are, not what they want to be. Sigma. Females don't buy into illusions, especially when it comes to people. While others might paint rosy pictures or ignore the uncomfortable truths in a person's behavior, she sees things as they truly are. It's not about being critical, it's about being honest. When family members try to sugarcoat their own flaws or situations to maintain a facade, a Sigma female's ability to see past the surface often makes them feel exposed. She doesn't play along with the game of pretending, and that can make others uncomfortable. For her, the truth isn't something to be avoided or dressed up in prettier terms. If a family member is manipulative, insecure, or harboring unspoken resentment, she'll pick up on it. Her keen insight doesn't allow her to overlook these traits, no matter how much others might wish to bury them under a veil of politeness or denial. This often places her at odds with family dynamics, as her unwillingness to indulge in these facades exposes others in a way they'd rather not be seen. While others might try to convince themselves that everything is fine, or that someone's actions don't really matter, she sees through the story. This doesn't mean she judges them harshly, but she can't help but notice the contradictions and lies that others try to overlook. Her awareness often forces people to confront the reality they'd rather avoid. For some, this directness is uncomfortable, even unsettling. The Sigma female's ability to cut through the pretense exposes what others are hiding, making them feel vulnerable. But it's also a reflection of her integrity. She respects people enough to see them for who they really are, not who they want to be or who they wish others would believe they are. And while this might make her seem harsh or cold, it's actually one of the most compassionate acts she can offer, seeing people clearly and not pretending otherwise. At number 5, they carry a heavy sense of responsibility without complaining. Sigma females often carry an immense amount of responsibility, yet they do it without fanfare or complaint. Their ability to handle multiple challenges at once, whether personal, professional, or familial, can make them seem like they're always in control, always managing. But the reality is much different. They bear the weight of these responsibilities silently, rarely seeking recognition or sympathy. This quiet strength is often misunderstood. Because they don't outwardly show signs of being overwhelmed, family members may assume they aren't struggling, or worse, that they don't need help. This creates a subtle tension in the family dynamic. Their stoic ability to handle stress and responsibility is misinterpreted as emotional distance or detachment. Because they don't wear their burdens on their sleeves, others may think they're unaffected or too self-sufficient to need support. But the truth is, Sigma females carry more than they let on, and the pressure often builds in ways that others can't see. The lack of visible distress doesn't mean the burden isn't there. It means the Sigma female has chosen to carry it on her own, without asking others to shoulder any part of it. While some may find this admirable, it can also leave them isolated. It's hard for family members to offer help when they don't realize just how much is being carried behind the scenes. The Sigma female doesn't need to complain because she knows she's capable. But that doesn't mean she isn't affected. Her strength should not be mistaken for emotional distance or indifference. She doesn't ask for help, not because she doesn't need it, but because she's wired to endure in silence, even when the weight feels unbearable. This unspoken burden often goes unnoticed, and the tension that builds from carrying it alone is a silent strain that can be misunderstood as detachment. Number 6. They challenge the family's comfort zones. Sigma females have an uncanny ability to disrupt the status quo. Where family members might be content to follow tradition, live within set boundaries, or hold on to outdated beliefs, the Sigma female challenges all of it. Whether she's breaking generational cycles, pursuing a career path that others might deem unconventional, or questioning societal norms that others blindly follow, she makes people uncomfortable. Not because she intends to, but because her mere existence questions the foundations they've built their lives on. When a Sigma female steps out of the mold, family members often scramble for understanding. They look at her decisions, her independence, and her refusal to conform, and wonder how they can reconcile it with the expectations they have for her. She doesn't adhere to the unwritten rules they've all followed. She creates her own. This kind of disruption is unsettling because it forces others to examine their own choices and beliefs. It can even make them feel like their own comfort zones are being shattered. She isn't deliberately trying to shake things up, but rather living authentically, in a way that makes others question their own life paths. While many are content in their predictable routines, the Sigma female refuses to settle for mediocrity or complacency. And this, in turn, forces family members to confront uncomfortable truths about their own lives. Her actions often make her the outsider, the one who doesn't fit in, because she's not afraid to challenge everything, from career choices to generational thinking. While this can create tension, it's also a wake-up call. The Sigma female doesn't just break the mold, she shows others that there's a different, more authentic way to live. And even though this makes her misunderstood, it's her quiet revolution that has the potential to change everything, if only others are brave enough to listen. Number 7. Their success creates resentment, not pride. When a Sigma female achieves success, it's rarely by following the traditional path. Her accomplishments are often the result of quiet grit, relentless self-discipline, and a refusal to conform to mediocrity. But instead of receiving admiration or pride from her family, she may be met with something far more unsettling: resentment. Family members who feel overshadowed by her success often react not with congratulations, but with defensiveness or dismissal. Her achievements, rather than being a source of collective pride, become a mirror reflecting what others haven't yet accomplished. This can lead to subtle jabs, backhanded compliments, or outright indifference. "You've changed," they might say, or "must be nice to have it all figured out," as if her hard work was a stroke of luck, rather than the result of sacrifice and determination. What's worse, her success may even disrupt the family's unspoken hierarchy. If she wasn't supposed to be the one who excels, if another sibling or relative was the assumed golden child, her achievements can feel like an unspoken challenge to the status quo. Instead of celebrating her, they might downplay her wins, deflect attention, or try to recenter the narrative around themselves. This leaves the Sigma female in a lonely position. She's worked hard to rise above challenges, yet the very people who should be cheering her on treat her as a threat. But this doesn't break her. It sharpens her resolve. She learns to celebrate herself, to stand tall without external validation, and to keep striving despite the lack of support. Her success is a testament to her independence and strength. While it may breed resentment in others, it also solidifies her identity as someone who doesn't need applause to keep winning. She's not misunderstood because of her success. She's misunderstood because her success reveals truths others aren't ready to face. At number 8, they value truth over comfort. For a Sigma female, truth isn't optional, it's a necessity. While most people might soften their words or avoid difficult conversations to keep the peace, she believes in calling things as they are. To her, sugarcoating feels dishonest, and glossing over issues only delays inevitable conflicts. So, even with family, she speaks with brutal honesty, not because she enjoys being blunt, but because she values authenticity over shallow harmony. This approach often puts her at odds with relatives who prefer to sweep problems under the rug or tiptoe around sensitive topics. When she points out uncomfortable truths, whether it's about unhealthy dynamics, toxic behaviors, or personal accountability, she's often labeled as harsh, insensitive, or too much. But she's not out to hurt anyone. She's out to confront what needs fixing. She believes that real growth only happens when people face reality head-on, even if it stings. What family members may fail to see is that her honesty comes from a place of respect. She's not trying to tear people down. She's trying to push them forward. She knows that ignoring the truth might preserve comfort in the short term, but it creates deeper issues in the long run. By being upfront, she's offering a chance for resolution and authenticity, even if it's uncomfortable in the moment. While this approach may leave her misunderstood or even resented, the Sigma female doesn't back down. She'd rather deal with temporary discomfort than live in a web of half-truths and unspoken tension. Her commitment to truth isn't just a reflection of her integrity. It's her way of building relationships on a foundation of trust, even if it means weathering a few storms along the way. Number 9, they keep their struggles private. When a Sigma female faces struggles, she doesn't broadcast them for sympathy or support. She internalizes her emotions, not because she doesn't trust others, but because she trusts herself more. To her, sharing pain feels like opening a door to vulnerability she's not ready to expose. It's not about pride or secrecy. It's about maintaining control over her narrative and processing things on her own terms. This can be deeply misunderstood by family. They might interpret her silence as emotional distance or indifference, wondering why she doesn't confide in them. To them, her independence may come off as cold or unfeeling, but nothing could be further from the truth. Sigma females feel deeply, but they see their emotions as personal terrain to navigate. They prefer introspection to external validation, and often find comfort in solving their problems quietly, away from prying eyes. It's not that they don't value their family's support. They simply don't want to burden others with their pain. They believe strength lies in self-reliance and would rather emerge on the other side of a struggle with lessons learned than lean on others to carry them through. This mindset often leaves their family confused, sometimes even hurt, as they misread her independence as a lack of connection. But the truth is, a Sigma female's ability to manage her struggles privately is a testament to her resilience. She doesn't shut people out of apathy. She does it out of love. She knows her storms are hers to weather, and when she's ready, she'll share her story on her own terms. Until then, her silence isn't a wall. It's her way of processing, growing, and healing. It's not coldness, it's strength in its quietest, most misunderstood form. At number 10, they have boundaries that others struggle to respect. Families often operate under the unspoken rule that being close means having unlimited access to each other's lives, knowing every detail, opinion, and decision. But for a Sigma female, that kind of unchecked access feels intrusive, not supportive. She draws clear boundaries not because she doesn't care, but because she values her peace and autonomy above all else. To her, boundaries are a way of saying, "This is where I end, and you begin." It's about protecting her mental and emotional well-being, not shutting people out. Yet families often misunderstand this. When she keeps certain parts of her life private, they may accuse her of being secretive or selfish. They mistake her need for space as a rejection of connection, not realizing it's what allows her to show up fully when she does engage. This misinterpretation can lead to conflict. Family members might push, prod, or guilt her into revealing more than she's comfortable with, thinking they're entitled to that access simply because they share blood. But a Sigma female doesn't equate love with surrendering her individuality. She knows that being constantly available to others, emotionally, mentally, or physically, can deplete her. So she enforces boundaries as an act of self-respect, even when it's misunderstood. These boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're filters to let the right energy in. By controlling what she shares and with whom, she ensures her relationships are based on mutual respect rather than obligation. While this might make her the hard-to-reach family member, it also makes her the one who doesn't get lost in everyone else's chaos. Her boundaries are a testament to her strength, even if others struggle to see it that way. Number 11. They don't need constant reassurance. Sigma females don't crave constant reassurance. While many people seek regular affirmation from their family members to feel secure or loved, the Sigma female doesn't rely on external validation to define her self-worth. Her confidence comes from within, built over time through self-awareness and the quiet belief that she's capable on her own. This self-sufficiency can be easily misinterpreted by family who may see her as emotionally distant, cold, or indifferent. They might wonder why she doesn't ask for help, or why she doesn't seem to need their constant affirmation. But the truth is, she doesn't need it. Her sense of security doesn't come from being told she's doing well or that she's loved. It's something she already knows. She's not emotionally starved for attention or approval. Instead, she draws strength from her own inner reserves. She doesn't need to be constantly reassured because she's comfortable in her own skin and confident in her choices, regardless of what others might think. This independence is often mistaken for aloofness or lack of affection, but nothing could be further from the truth. Sigma females can be deeply caring and loving, but their love doesn't need to be constantly validated through words or gestures. They show it in their actions, in their consistency, and in the way they quietly support others without expecting anything in return. Her refusal to seek validation doesn't mean she doesn't care. It simply means that she's secure enough in herself to not require constant affirmation. For the Sigma female, true love and connection aren't built on praise or constant emotional checks. They're built on mutual respect, autonomy, and understanding. Sigma females are often misunderstood by their families because they don't fit into the usual mold. They don't seek constant validation. They don't follow traditions just for the sake of it, and they carry burdens quietly without asking for sympathy. These traits, so often seen as coldness, rebellion, or emotional distance, are actually signs of incredible strength, independence, and authenticity. They refuse to bend to the expectations placed on them, not because they're trying to break away, but because they refuse to live a life that doesn't resonate with who they truly are. It's easy for those who don't understand the Sigma mindset to label them as distant or difficult, but the truth is, these women are some of the most self-reliant, thoughtful, and deeply introspective people. They know themselves better than anyone else, and that often makes them stand apart. It's not a flaw, but a testament to their unique way of seeing and navigating the world. If you find yourself being misunderstood, take pride in it. Embrace the fact that you're not easily categorized or confined by the expectations of others. Your strength lies in your ability to stay true to yourself, no matter how uncomfortable or unsettling that might make others feel. Keep doing what you do best, being unapologetically you. The world might not always understand, but you are on a path that only a few have the courage to walk. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video. Bye for now, and God bless.